Listen, before we go anywhere, I need you to hear my voice clearly because if you've clicked on this video, a part of you already feels something is wrong, and I'm going to say something that might sting a little, but it will protect you more than you realize. When a woman starts cheating, she doesn't announce it. She doesn't even change overnight. Instead, she leaves a trail of tiny emotional fingerprints that only a man who's paying attention can see. And right now, I want you to stay with me because what I'm about to tell you will make a lot of confusing moments suddenly make sense. And at the end of this video, I'm going to reveal something most men never hear until it's too late, so don't go anywhere. You know that uneasy feeling in your stomach, that tension in your chest, that makes you wonder why her energy feels different. That's not paranoia, that's your intuition, trying to talk to you. And as a psychologist, I can tell you this, women rarely cheat out of nowhere. It begins quietly, subtly, emotionally, long before she ever crosses a physical line. She crosses tiny psychological lines, and those are the ones you keep ignoring because you want to believe everything is fine. Let me ask you something. When was the last time she looked at you the same way she used to? Not just the smile, not the routine affection. I am talking about that spark, that warmth, that softness in her eyes that only appears when a woman feels connected to her man. When that disappears, it's not an accident, it's a shift. And most men never notice it until the relationship is already bleeding. Here's the part that's uncomfortable. When a woman starts entertaining another man emotionally, she becomes colder without even realizing it. Her tone changes, her patience shortens. She stops explaining things and she starts hiding, not in obvious ways, not with big lies, but with tiny behaviors. Hesitation, delayed responses, sudden defensiveness. These moments are not random. They're symptoms of emotional distancing, and emotional distancing is the earliest stage of cheating. So breathe, relax your shoulders. You're not here to blame yourself. You are here to see what's been happening right in front of you. And if you stay with me, I'm going to show you the signs you've overlooked, the behaviors that reveal the truth, and the patterns women follow when they think a man isn't paying attention. And yes, make sure you like this video and subscribe because you're about to see everything differently. Let me take you deeper into her behavior because this next shift is something almost every man misses. Not because he's blind, but because he's loyal. When a woman begins to emotionally detach and look elsewhere, she doesn't become less active. She becomes selectively active. She starts choosing where to invest her attention, and suddenly you are no longer the priority. And the painful part is she'll disguise this as being busy, being tired, or needing space because those excuses sound harmless. But I want you to listen closely to how her energy moves. Women communicate their truth through subtle emotional rhythms, not words. A woman who is loyal, connected, and invested naturally leans into your presence. She wants to share her thoughts, her day, her problems, her feelings. But when her focus shifts to another man, even if she hasn't admitted it to herself, she subconsciously redirects her emotional investment. She becomes strangely energized around others and strangely drained around you. She becomes responsive to the world, but passive with you. And that contrast, that imbalance is not an accident. It's a psychological signal. Think about this. When you text her, does she suddenly take longer to respond, but somehow she has time to be active online, posting stories, laughing with coworkers, looking more alive than she does with you? That's not coincidence. That's emotional reallocation. Women who are cheating or thinking about cheating become protective of their emotional bandwidth. They start prioritizing the person who is giving them validation, excitement, or novelty, even if it's just emotional attention at first. And here's the part most men never understand. When a woman starts cheating emotionally, she often becomes more defensive. If you ask a simple question, "Are you okay? Why do you seem distant?" her reaction suddenly becomes sharper, almost irritated. She's not angry at you. She's angry at the guilt she feels, but doesn't want to acknowledge that defensiveness is her mind trying to hide the emotional shift she's already made. Now, don't misunderstand. This isn't about accusing her, controlling her, or jumping to conclusions. This is about recognizing patterns that psychology has shown for decades. A woman who feels emotionally fulfilled by someone else doesn't behave the same with you. She can't. Her energy betrays her long before her words do stay with me because the next signs are even more hidden and almost impossible for most men to see. There's another shift that reveals far more than most men realize, and it's one of the strongest psychological indicators that a woman's attention has moved to someone else. It's the sudden change in how she manages her privacy. Not the obvious kind. No secret locked phones or dramatic hiding. I'm talking about the subtle adjustments, the ones she hopes you overlook because they seem too small to matter. But they do matter. They matter more than anything. A woman who feels emotionally secure with you is naturally transparent. She doesn't guard her phone like it's a vault. She doesn't flinch when a notification comes in. She doesn't turn her screen away when you walk by. Her world feels open because she trusts the bond you share. But when she begins to connect with someone else, emotionally or physically, she becomes protective of her digital space. Even if she has nothing technically incriminating to hide, she might suddenly start keeping her phone face down. She might start deleting conversations just to clear storage. She might become extra sensitive when you casually reach for her phone to check the time. But here's the truth. These behaviors are not about privacy. They're about emotional guilt. When a woman feels guilty, she becomes more careful, she becomes more calculated, and she starts drawing emotional boundaries you never agreed to. Another hidden sign is the shift in her digital habits. Maybe she's online late at night when she never used to be. Maybe she replies to you slowly but responds instantly to others. Maybe she's liking posts or following accounts that don't match her usual patterns. These subtle digital behaviors aren't random. They're psychological breadcrumbs. They reveal where her mind is spending its energy, even when her body is still sitting next to you. And here's something you need to understand as a man. Women cheat emotionally long before anything physical ever happens. They bond through conversation, attention validation, and emotional intimacy. If another man is giving her those things, she will unconsciously start pulling away from you because she's dividing herself between two emotional worlds. One feels exciting, the other feels like responsibility. These are the signs no one teaches men to look for because most people assume cheating only starts with physical contact, but it rarely does. It starts in the mind, it starts with secrecy, it starts with these tiny shifts in digital behavior that seem harmless until the truth becomes impossible to hide. There's a shift that cuts deeper than all the others because it touches the core of how women connect. The change in how she communicates with you, not the surface level, polite, routine conversations. I'm talking about the emotional heartbeat of the relationship, the way she shares herself. A woman who is loyal and fully invested communicates with warmth, vulnerability, and a desire to be understood. But when she begins giving that emotional intimacy to someone else, her communication with you starts to sound empty, mechanical, stripped of the softness you once knew. Have you noticed that she doesn't tell you about her day the way she used to? She used to talk. She used to open up. She used to let you into her inner world, but now everything feels like a summary, like she's giving you the leftovers of her emotional energy instead of the real raw version of herself. That's not an accident. Emotional intimacy is limited. When she starts sharing her real thoughts and feelings with someone else, she has nothing left to give you, and this is where most men get confused. She might still be friendly, she might still laugh, still talk, still say she's fine, but the depth is gone. The connection is gone. Her voice doesn't carry the same warmth. Her responses feel shorter. Her tone feels flatter. When a woman begins cheating emotionally, she stops communicating from her heart and starts communicating from obligation. You can feel the difference even if she says the same words. Another thing that changes is consistency. A woman who is hiding something will become unpredictable with her communication. One day she's chatty, the next she's distant. One moment she replies instantly, the next she disappears for hours. This inconsistency isn't random, it's emotional conflict. She's balancing two realities and her behavior cracks under the pressure. And here's the hardest part. She may actually become kinder in some moments, almost excessively nice, because guilt often makes women overcompensate. A guilty woman tries to appear stable, loving, and normal, hoping you won't sense the distance. She already feels inside her. Sudden sweetness isn't affection, it's fear. So pay attention to the emotional texture of her communication, not just what she says, but how she says it. Women reveal their loyalty through their openness. When that openness disappears, something or someone has taken its place. There's another sign almost every man misreads because it hides behind something that seems harmless. Her sudden change in self-presentation. When a woman is fully emotionally connected to you, her appearance naturally aligns with the rhythm of the relationship. She dresses for herself, yes, but she also dresses for the life she shares with you. Her style has consistency, stability, a certain comfort, but when she begins giving her attention to another man, there is almost always a noticeable shift in how she wants to be seen, and it rarely has anything to do with you. You'll notice she becomes extra conscious of how she looks when she leaves the house. New outfits, new makeup habits, a new fragrance she never wore around you. Women don't transform their appearance without an emotional catalyst. And when this transformation happens suddenly without explanation, you should pay attention because women often elevate their appearance when they're trying to impress someone specific, someone who makes them feel noticed, desired, or excited. And here's the part that stings. She might stop putting in effort around you while putting in more effort everywhere else. She may seem comfortable showing up casual with you, but becomes strangely polished when she goes out with friends to work or to run errands. This contrast isn't random. It reveals where she feels motivated to be seen. Her appearance becomes a silent love letter to the person who is capturing her emotional energy, but it goes deeper than clothes or makeup. Her habits shift. She might start going to the gym more, changing her hairstyle, buying new lingerie she doesn't wear for you, or suddenly caring about how her body looks at moments she never cared before. Those changes are rarely about self-improvement alone. They're often tied to an emotional spark. She's trying to feed another subtle but powerful sign is the change in her confidence. A woman who's receiving attention from another man often carries a different kind of glow, a mix of excitement and guilt. She seems distracted, yet energized, busy, yet strangely happier in moments that have nothing to do with you. That glow is emotional stimulation, the kind that comes from feeling desired by someone new. And understand this, women don't change their appearance just because they change when their emotional world is shifting, when they're seeking new validation, when they're being seen by eyes that are not yours. Her transformation is not random, it's reflective. It shows you exactly where her heart is drifting, even if she never says a word. Now, let's talk about the sign that hits a man's heart the hardest, because it affects the one thing he values most in a relationship. Her effort. When a woman starts cheating emotionally or physically, her investment in the relationship doesn't just decrease, it shifts. The energy she used to pour into you, she now gives to someone else, and that's why everything starts feeling one-sided. You begin to feel like you're carrying the entire relationship on your back while she floats above it, detached, unbothered, almost indifferent. Think about the small things she used to do, the thoughtful texts, the check-in calls, the little gestures that showed she cared about you, your day, your emotions, your well-being. Those moments didn't disappear because she's busy. They disappeared because she's redirecting that emotional labor to another man. A woman only has so much emotional energy to give, and when someone else becomes her priority, you become the afterthought. You'll notice she stops initiating plans. She stops making time for you. She stops being excited to see you. Everything becomes an excuse. She's tired, she's overwhelmed, she's stressed, but strangely, she still has energy for everything and everyone else. She goes out without hesitation. She laughs with others. She's active when she wants to be, just not with you, and that's the part most men struggle to understand. It's not that she's exhausted, she's just exhausted with you, and there's something even more painful. She stops fighting for the relationship. Arguments that used to matter suddenly mean nothing to her. She doesn't try to fix things. She doesn't try to reconnect. She doesn't try to rebuild. What's breaking? A woman cheats emotionally long before her body ever follows. And the clearest sign is when she no longer cares about repairing anything with you. Not because she's given up on relationships, but because she's found emotional comfort somewhere else. You may even notice you become strangely calm during conflicts. That calmness isn't maturity, it's detachment. She's no longer affected because she's no longer invested. When a woman stops fighting, stops caring, stops trying, that's not peace. That's distance, deep emotional distance. Men often blame themselves when this happens, but it's not your fault. You are just feeling the absence of her effort. She is now giving to someone who hasn't earned it the way you did, and that's why recognizing this shift is so important. Because emotional withdrawal is one of the final signs before the truth becomes undeniable. There's one final sign, and it's the one that reveals everything. Even if she never says a word, it's the shift in how she reacts to your presence, not your questions, not your conversations, your presence. Because when a woman is loyal, she naturally softens around her man. Her body language opens, her energy warms. Even on difficult days, she gravitates toward you because you feel like safety. But when she has emotionally crossed into another connection, your presence no longer feels like comfort to her. It feels like pressure, and that pressure shows up in the smallest, most painful ways. You'll notice she becomes tense around you, not obviously, not dramatically, but subtly. Her arms cross more often. She sits further away. She leans out instead of leaning in. Even her breathing changes around you. These micro expressions are impossible to fake because the body always reveals what the heart is trying to hide. And when a woman pulls away physically, it's because she's already pulled away emotionally. Another powerful indicator is her sudden impatience. Things that never bothered her before suddenly irritate her. Your habits, your tone, your presence, everything triggers her more easily. It's not because you've changed, it's because she's comparing you to someone else in her mind. Someone who is currently feeding her emotions, her curiosity, her excitement, and that comparison creates a quiet resentment she can't explain. So it comes out as frustration, but the deepest shift is how she behaves when you are silent. A loyal woman feels connected to you even in quiet moments. The silence feels peaceful, shared, intimate, but a cheating woman becomes uncomfortable in silence. She fidgets, she avoids eye contact. She picks up her phone, Silence exposes the emotional distance she's trying to hide, and she can't sit in it without feeling guilty. And I need you to hear this as clearly as possible. When a woman's behavior changes this deeply, it's not a phase, it's not stress, it's not hormones, it's emotional displacement. Her heart is investing elsewhere, and her body is reacting to the truth. She doesn't want to speak. But here's something important. This video isn't meant to make you paranoid. It's meant to make you aware, because awareness protects you from heartbreak you never deserved. So if you felt these signs, don't ignore them. Don't beg, don't chase, don't break yourself trying to fix what she already broke inside. Instead, choose yourself. And if you want more clarity, more strength, and more truth about female psychology, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay close because you're finally learning what nobody ever taught you.